After 2 long days of debate, the House Judiciary Committee is preparing to vote at some point today on the 2 actual articles of impeachment. Joining us now live to discuss, we welcome in for the first time Shawn Wilson, a political science professor at Wright State University. You do a radio show and a podcast on this, so I know you're very focused on this. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today here on 5 on 2. So, given the fact that it is our first chance to talk to you about this topic, just want to get your thoughts on what we've seen and heard to this point as we head toward a likely trial in the Senate.
Well, this is interesting. What's interesting about this impeachment is there are different types of impeachments. Some involve serious criminality, like Richard Nixon, and others involve sort of this idea that a person's just being odious or has done something egregious public conduct. And this is that kind of impeachment, and as a result, what you're going to see is voting more along a partisan line. You're not going to see, the vote in Nixon's impeachment, there was Republicans were voting for it as well, and you don't really see the crossover votes this time. It looks like there's about 10 or so Democrats who are having weak feelings about this. They approached the leadership and wanted to go for censure instead of impeachment.
Right.
And so the vote's probably going to go along party lines, and then it's going to hit the Senate. You're going to see something similar.
So let's talk about that likely next step. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I think this is headed for a trial in the Senate at probably sometime in January. It's been pretty much a Democrat show up to this point because they have the majority in the House, but of course the GOP holds the majority in the Senate. How might that affect what we see in the Senate trial? What kind of shape and form will that trial take?
The rules of procedure require a majority vote, but the Republicans are not perfectly cohesive either. Folks like Mitt Romney, it's not sure what they're going to vote for in terms of what the procedure is going to be. On the Democratic side, you have people like Joe Manchin, and it's not sure how he's going to vote because he might swing the other way as well.
He's always on the fence.
Yeah, on the fence. I don't think there's any... Trump is not going to get removed. The question is going to be how long the trial goes, whether it's a circus, whether they're going to have Hunter Biden testify. There was some press reports that President Trump wanted an elaborate proceeding. Today, Lindsey Graham was saying something else. He's saying the best thing to do is get this over as quickly as possible. And the Republicans are sure that they can get a vote to acquit. They're not necessarily sure that they can get a majority vote on everything they want because those votes are going to be close. So I would expect it to be pretty quick in the Senate, and I think they're going to kind of go to acquittal as soon as possible.
Yeah, let's finish up with that, because the president has made noises about wanting a full hearing, lots of witnesses, but it might actually be to the advantages of both the Democrats and the GOP to get this over ASAP.
Yeah, I would think so. If you're looking for a scorecard, I'd watch those polls. President Trump is still down in the polls compared to where he was before this started, but he's coming back a little bit. And so, Rasmussen has him today at 49%. When this all started, he was at 53. That's his favorite poll. The other polls have him lower. He's about 41 to 42, 43% around there. And so that's what, I'm looking for as a political scientist. I watch and see. That's how I tell how it's going. It's pretty much of a tie, I would say.
And of course, if he's acquitted in the Senate trial, it could actually work to his advantage heading into the campaign.
President Trump has difficulty breaching a certain ceiling in the polls. It's hard for him to get above 45%. Even if the Democrats keep him contained in that space, I think they can claim that as a consolation prize. Both sides obviously are worried about the election. That's the thing that's behind it all. I mean, I'm not being cynical here. I am being a realist. This is one of the things that's there. I think it's going to be basically a tie.
All right. Well, certainly fascinating and historic times, and we appreciate Shawn Wilson's insights, political science professor at Wright State University. Thank you for joining us on 5 on 2. If I don't see you, happy holidays.
Thank you.
Brooke, back over to you.